Okay. So I was just doing a little reading about different things, but one of them is circles. Have you heard of this?
Circles.
Yeah, I'll send you the link. Basic income on the blockchain.
I may have. Yep.
So it's basically you sign up and then you get a certain number of coins, like 1 coin every minute or something like that.
Yeah.
Or every second, I don't know. And so it's like a basic income. But then in order to use it, you have to get other people to trust you. So like if I trust you,
yeah.
If I trust you, then it means that I will allow to exchange my coins for your coins 1-to-1.
Okay.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So you have like Yang coin, then maybe somebody else out there has like 10 of those. Then they can give those to me and take away 10 of my coins automatically. Okay. So that means that anybody that trusts my coins, if I've been in the system longer than you, maybe my coins are trusted by a lot of people, but you are a newcomer. But then if I trust you, then people can give me your coins and take my coins, which means that if you want to pay somebody, then you can do it through me. If I trust you, so you can pay through me anybody else. So if you want to pay somebody else, basically the system will give your coins to me and then my coins to the other person.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I will end up holding your coins and the other person will end up holding my coins.
Okay. So it's like, it's a network of trust network.
Yes.
So
and when you don't have anyone, if you don't know anyone in the network, then you can automatically get coins, but you can't spend them until some other person trusts you.
Yeah, interesting. It sounds very interesting. I'll read it. I'll read more about it.
It solves the problem of people creating multiple accounts. Attack, because you can easily create any number of accounts, but unless you get other people to trust them, it doesn't do you any good.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Maybe we should get in touch once I understand like how it works.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just make a note that I read this. Circles. Try circles.net. Yep.
And I also found there's a Colorado blockchain association.
Yeah.
And they just had a meeting. Unfortunately, I missed it before I found out about it. But they had an Ethereum meeting in Denver.
Yeah.
They had them in Boulder, and looks kind of active. So I didn't get in touch with him yet, but kind of cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
It says on their website that this is the #1 state for blockchain. I don't think that's true. But
What's the number 1 state?
Colorado, yeah, the #1.
Oh,
state.
#1 state.
I don't think I like Colorado, but no, I don't think
they must have their own measuring metrics.
Yes,
measures #1 state. If the name starts with a C or ends with an O. Oh, interesting. A new personal cryptocurrency is created for the most smart contract. Business circles treat this person. It's identical. Okay. This person coverage on one single global monetary system. It's very cool. Okay, introduction was Circle is a money system that's made of individual currencies. These currencies work together to create currencies. Personal currency. Shared set of rules. Each person currency. Okay, let's see the shared set of rules. Each personal currency continues with Yep. All currencies mint new coins at the same rate. Yep. Artist join the system create artist coin, personal coins, all minted 1 per minute. Yep. Bulk coin. Yep. It's important to note that new currency units are only awarded to the person associated. Yep. Artist joins the system creating artist coin, personal coins, all minted. Yep. Yep. That's very interesting. When did they start this? Partners.
No, I didn't look at that. This is their white paper, which is on GitHub.
Yeah. That's good. Inflation. Trusted currency. Bob trusts artist coin. Bob has 10. Carl coin. Dev has 10. Yeah. Okay. This is very interesting. So it's a trust of trust of trust. Limit to trust.
Yeah, it's interesting because the trust is a one-to-one trust. So you trust somebody absolutely, but then you can set a limit on it. So I can say I trust you, but only up to like 10 personal coins.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you would end up with money that you can only spend with one person.
Yeah. Okay, I will dive deeper into this. Interesting. I want to know who's behind this project.
Yeah. There's this Berlin Basic Income Lab. I found that one of the links. I'm not sure if that's, but I don't know who started it.
Yeah. They are worth contacting. That's very cool.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Let's see. Oh, so yeah, another thing that I wanted to just bring up is identification of challenges, and yeah, basically like one of the things that I think is important in any early stage endeavor is that you have like a way to sort of recognize or sense potential and then sort of steer towards it. So normally we would do that with I mean, you can do that with different ways. You can do it with like a traditional business plan where you come up with like, you know, your plan for how you're going to sell X number of widgets and then, you know, at Y price, and then you can figure out what your profit is going to be.
Yeah.
And then and then you might find out, you need to sell them for more, or you need to sell more of them, or people don't want them, or you have to change the design.
Yeah.
So it's this sort of like steering mechanism or feedback mechanism that lets you know if you're steering correctly. So I'm thinking about that seems to be something that we are missing. So we don't have
hello? Test.
Yeah.
The last words I heard is something that we're missing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So because we don't have the immediate feedback of a business plan. So we don't have that the luxury of that sort of a simple way of knowing if we are doing something. So so I guess I'm thinking about like ways that we could sort of sense where we are going and where we want to go.
Yeah.
And kind of steer. So it's not anything specific. It's just like kind of a general thing to consider. Like, how do we at the early stage, how do we sort of identify what we're going for and kind of like steer towards something? In other words, how do we give ourselves the opportunity to pivot? So in an ordinary business, you pivot when you realize that your business plan is maybe there's another way to make money that's going to be easier. So if you have a business plan that's based on making a profit, then it's pretty easy sometimes to see like this is hard, but this way is easier, so we just steer over there.
So you're saying that what's the mechanism for pivoting for the project?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I mean, not necessarily the mechanism. Like the mechanism is at some point you just say, okay, let's do it. But I guess it's more like what are the things that we are looking at that would influence the decision to pivot or not? So
yeah, let's see, how would this work? I think this will be one of the tensions sensed by a circle member, and I think Holacracy has like a strategy setting, a meeting that sets strategy. Operation. Let me check it. That meeting guide, strategy. Review purpose, domain, accountabilities of circle. Capture and post relevant points. Yeah, strategy generation. Capture and post ideas individually, discuss collectively. Lead link, propose one or more strategies. Yes, so under Holacracy is basically all the roles, they can sense tensions and they should be able to bring up during a strategy meeting, or they can talk to the lead link directly, and the lead link will sense the tension and basically say, hey, we need to really think about where we're going. So it's like,
yeah. Like what I'm asking about more is just to think about how we're sort of like gauging our progress, because or how we are sort of how we are steering, how we are not steering in the sense of I guess how we are navigating is more like it, like how we're seeing, like I mean, in terms of steering, it's like you turn the wheel and the car moves.
Yeah.
But in terms of navigating, it's like, do we turn left here, or do we turn right, or do we go straight? So that area, I feel like I just want us to kind of think about like.
It's currently the way the governance structure, the lead link kind of decides whether to go left, right. It's so we need a good lead link to be able to realize the direction, just like with any other roles, like, to make decisions. So it's ultimately it's right now it's a domain for the lead link. A good lead link will consider all the options, talk to all the roles, and figure out one, two, or three alternatives, like possible directions. And we don't have a deciding mechanism. So it says on the strategy meeting guide that lead link proposes one or more strategies. These are processed via integrated decision making, as in governance meetings. So it's more like a collaborative decision making process. So it's like, so suppose lead link propose, say, now that we have the circle project, do we merge with them? Do we like figure out our competitive advantage? He will make a proposal. Suppose that he says the circle mechanism is fundamentally flawed. It's not, we're actually doing something completely different. We should go that direction. And then he just makes a proposal, and then people will come up with like objections, say, if we do this, this is actually, it will create a lot more tension, and then we kind of like resolve it. Yeah, I think that's the mechanism to navigate, or how to really look at the space and understand it, so that we'll have a good view of everything. And if at the end they are doing exactly what we do, then we need to think about, okay, so they're doing exactly what we do. There are several options here. We could talk to them, say, hey, do you guys want to work together, or is there a way to collaborate? That's one way. But then we'll have to think about how we survive as a project, or we need to earn money, right? We need to get salaries. So would you guys like to hire us, or we can hire you, or how does it work? Oh, if say they say yeah, I think we're good. So then then we have to decide, are we going to give up, or are we going to outcompete them? It's all these things. So it's yeah, I suppose. Just that.
Yeah, this particular one is different because it's spendable. So that's the biggest difference. But I will still be interested to see what you think.
Yeah, I need to do some simulation in my head to figure out how that system works. So, I understand the basic rules and run some simulation. But it looks really promising, because how they spread is based on decentralization, the web of trust. Although that's different from our current trusting algorithms, because the current trust algorithm everyone validates, but in their network it's only a group of people. So it's like if we imagine a dot, and if we can light up these little dots, like interconnected dots, and if we light up one, then we can see the ripple like spread out from that dot, and they have to all spread constantly spread out ripples, and that solidifies their trust. But what can break this trust? I don't know. It's like, but then what if this guy trusts this guy is only 99% trust, and this guy is like 90% trust, so this guy trusts this guy? They must have an algorithm, and at the end of the day, it's an algorithm, probably an algorithm, and it's spendable. So I would imagine some guy will be trusted more than others, so that his basic income will be valued more than others. So it's not an equal.
Well, that's what's interesting about it, because it's not like it's more valuable. It's just like it's more spendable. So that's kind of weird. It's like I can spend my money at the 7-Eleven, but I can't spend it at the Walmart. So it's of course I would rather have the money that could be spent everywhere. But then I guess the way to get that is to like find somebody that has more spendable money than you, and then get them to trust you.
Yeah.
So like you have this incentive to sort of be trustworthy, and to make people trust you.
Yeah.
Get people to state that they trust you, because then they're taking a risk.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's an interesting system. But I like the web of trust model because it neatly solves the problem of Sybil attacks or people being able to create anonymous accounts freely and create as many of them as they want, and then do bad things. So
it's what if for each individual they have individual account they can also have a index like testing. Test. Oh, we're back. Okay.
Yeah, the last thing I heard was, what if for each individual they have?
Yeah, so I have two ideas in mind. So one is that because for action for each individual account, we have to say like with a certain probability how authentic that account is, right? So we'll have to come up with a metric or a standardized metric, like saying this is the minimum requirement for a valid account. But for them, their metric depends on the people they know. So they have a different algorithm to figure out the validity of a single account so that people can trust that or not. So that's one thing. And another thing I want to think about is, so their system is like a clan-based system. It's pretty much like how we work as human beings. So we are well known in one group of people, and when we go to another group where we are like someone foreign. So it resembles that a lot. The only thing I don't like is we have to really, because they have published their game mechanics, I really need to know their test. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're back.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so, where was I?
You said the only thing I don't like.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, that's better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so what I think I really need to look at the game mechanics and understand how they design the game mechanics. So from the very basic level, what their basic assumptions are for this game. That will determine everything else, because they're trying to design something. So, excuse me. Yeah, they're trying to design something, right? It's like designing a theory. So the theory needs a starting point. And right now we're just saying the deductions without knowing what the starting point is. So it's very difficult to know what exactly they're designing the system for and whether that will solve the problem or not. So it's basically they are giving everyone money. Suppose that works. They are giving everyone money. So it's social welfare. It's like a minimum amount of money that the government is already giving out.
Yes, but the interesting thing about it is that nobody has to. It's the money is just created. So it's like you're just getting something every day or every second, every minute. So that's interesting. And then other people have to trust you for you to spend it. And then the thing that I thought was also interesting, one of the interesting sort of axioms of their system is that they don't have this like 99% trust or 90% trust, because as soon as you do that, then you get this exponential fall off in trust. And also people are not good at figuring that out. Like, do I trust you like 99.7%, 99.8%? Like people, even if you ask like 90% or 100%, people are like, well, I don't know, like maybe it's, and then if you give people too much choice, they're like, well, 95, 96, I don't know. I don't want to mess with this system anymore. And then they'll just put the whole thing away. But this is like, you either trust somebody or you don't. But if you do, it means that you will exchange your coins for theirs 1-to-1.
Yeah.
So if you do that, then it's like, okay, well, how many of my coins am I willing to take how many of your coins am I willing to take in exchange for mine 1-to-1? Then you can set a limit there. So you can say, yeah, I'll do that, but I will only do that for maybe 10 coins, because maybe your coins aren't trusted by anybody else. Maybe I just signed you up today and said, hey, join this new thing, and now you're already getting coins. So you can give those to me if I trust you. But if you want to pay, Bob, and then you exchange like 100 of your coins for 100 of my coins and give 100 of my coins to Bob, and then maybe all I'm left with is 100 of your coins, and then I can't split with anybody except you. So,
yeah.
So they have this system where it's like you can say, okay, I'll trust your coins, but only up to 10.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can go out and get other people to trust you, and then your coins become more spendable. So it's interesting to see like how this thing would work.
Yep.
And also like the 6 degrees of separation idea. So if I trust you and you trust somebody, then eventually you get to everybody in the world. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like your thinking. It's very computer science, it's very system. I like it. I hadn't thought about it.
It's a graph. It goes up. So.
That's cool. Yeah. So, will they need like get a reputation? Or there will be a reputation system associated with it, I suppose.
Yeah, I think the thing is that I guess the system automatically finds chains of people that you can trust. So it'll automatically like solve that graph problem.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and that's what's cool about like not having like 0.9% trust. You either trust or you don't.
Yeah.
So it's
like peer pressure. Do you trust me or not? It's like
yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I think that the challenge for that system would be like seeing how the whole thing turns into like universal basic income. Eventually you want to be able to go out and buy bread with it, right?
Yeah.
So I think the challenge for that system is going to be, can I use this to buy bread? So at the moment, obviously you can't. So it's like I have my personal coins, but I can't use them to buy anything. And then if other people in the system trust me, then maybe suddenly I can start to exchange them for goods and services.
Yeah.
But that sort of system will take time to.
What if it's like this? What if, suppose that system works, and let's simplify that system. So first of all, everyone trusts each other. So there's no trust problem at all. So it's a perfect system. And everyone has his or her own coin, and they are interchangeable with everyone else's coins. So we just get paid like in terms of dollars. Everyone has the same amount. So that's a perfect scenario for that system. This means someone still has to work, and there are a group of people that don't have to work. Oh, I mean, that's the UBI, that's the universal basic income. So
I mean, I think at that point it's like, okay, maybe let's say everybody gets $1 every minute they're alive, just automatically. Then what, okay, so maybe I want to be a farmer.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grow wheat.
Yeah.
And then I'll sell my wheat. So then I might get, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So if I was willing to sell my wheat for that kind of coin, but then there has to be like a system where I can get something else for that. So it has to sort of grow like gradually. So that's what's interesting, because everybody's talking about UBI.
Yeah.
From the perspective of like getting governments to give money to people.
Yeah.
But this is like, let's just give something to people and then figure out later on if it has any value or not. So, so the side of like the side of accepting this currency for something that is practical. So, I mean, obviously the gold standard of that would be like somebody that is willing to take personal coins and then give like US dollars for them. So
yes. Yeah, that's interesting. It's like you have your, what if we simplify the system to two people? Would that work? So we trust each other and you have your coin, I have my coin. And it's basically saying, if you have a lot of money already, I don't have any money, but I get certain, like, I have a minimum amount of money. So that means I just give my money to you, you'll give me some basic necessities. That could work. If you agree that my coin is valuable. So it's,
yeah, I mean, if there's two people, then maybe I've already been in the system for a long time, so I have a lot of coins already, and then you just join.
Yeah.
Then it would be like, I could either just keep the coins that I have, but the only thing I can do with them is give them to you, because the coins have no other value. So
yeah, like suppose you already have a lot of coins and I have my coin and it's the current system. Like you already own everything. It doesn't make sense to accept more because you kind of want to maintain this hierarchy, right? So it's because it's like you already have a lot of dollars, for example, and I have like $5 and to you it's like only $5. It doesn't, like, I don't want to give anything away. So it's like, because it's still money, I feel like something, yeah, if we simplify the system to two people, then it wouldn't work.
well, I think then I would have a choice. Like maybe I have $100 and you have 5.
Yeah.
So I could decide I either want to just give you something to get your $5. So maybe I can say, okay, I also have like a field of wheat growing behind me. So if you want some wheat, give me your $5 or give me $1, and I'll give you like a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
And you're continually getting them. So every day you're getting more. So I can either like do that, and then basically I'm engaging in trade, and then I'm getting those coins. And then maybe you don't want to like grow wheat. So you just want to sit under a tree and eat bread every day and think about the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So then maybe, 5 years later, you will produce some idea or some work of art that has some value.
Mm.
And then as a result of you sitting under the tree, I will say, okay, this work that you created has value. And then maybe I'll give you like a lot of the dollars that I was collecting during that long time.
Yeah.
So you kind of have the choice to basically like sit under a tree but get bread because you are getting this currency. But then if there's only two people, the other person in the system has to decide that they're going to like go out in the field and grow wheat every day, even if they don't need the coins.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's expressing a preference for saying, I would rather have more coins rather than fewer.
Yeah.
So I would rather go out and grow wheat, even though I don't have to. I mean, if there's only two people, then maybe I do have to. Otherwise, we both starve.
Yeah. Yeah. What you describe with one person giving wheat to another, it sounds to me we already have it. It's like investment, right? It's like you're basically investing in me. You're giving me something so that I can go work and produce something and give you something in return. I think we already have it. It's like, but the problem is that people don't want to invest in poor people. So if they want to invest in poor people, they don't really need this kind of basic income, universal basic income. It's like, what if we don't have this universal basic income? You would just say, I'll lend you this amount of money, right? And I go off and build something. And
well, I think the difference is if you have like more than two people, if you have three people,
yeah.
So then maybe there's one person who's growing wheat, and then there's two other people. So if I say, okay, I'm going to like lend you money, then I'm sort of assuming that you're going to produce something of value later on.
Mm.
And I'm hoping that I will get back more money later on.
Yeah.
But if we have a universal basic income, then it's like you are getting some coins every day.
Yeah.
So because those coins have value, I can just give you wheat, and I'm not actually, I'm not risking anything.
Yeah.
So I'm not really investing in the sense that I'm hoping for a future payoff, because even if there is no future payoff, I still have the coins.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So the coins represent basically, okay, here's I think what it is. The coins represent the average. So over time, the coins are going to represent the average human productivity of the society.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So some people are going to produce more than average and some people below average.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the people that do produce more, if they find a way to sell it, then they will get more coins. But everybody gets that average. So then how you spend that is basically how you allocate your share of, you know, what society is making.
Yeah.
So it ends up being very similar to money, except that and you can hoard it the same as money. The only thing that's different about it is that everybody's getting some every day.
So it's really basic income in the sense that it provides the very minimal life support.
Yeah, it should provide. I mean, you have to assume that like everybody is using it and that the system exists. But then it should provide it should provide the average. So it should provide whatever society is able to produce. So if things like grain, everybody already has that, then there's not much incentive for more people to start growing wheat.
Yeah.
So then maybe more people will focus on art.
Yeah. And this system is only useful, well, it's more useful if more people are not doing anything, like because it's only the very basic income. So that means for those that absolutely don't do anything at all, this becomes valuable. Yeah.
Yes, but for the people that are doing something, then the goal is to get as much as you can from other people. So it's still a way of keeping score, like money now is.
Yeah.
It's just that the market is bigger. So right now, if you're producing a product like iPhones, it's like, okay, the market for iPhones is like the top, small percentage, because the rest of the society cannot afford them. But if you have something like this, then it's like, okay, you can produce something. I mean, you can still produce something that only the top percentage will afford, but you can also produce things that everybody will afford. So it's like there's no, this sort of raises like the lowest level. So everybody in this system is like, there's nobody living on $1 a day anymore.
Yeah.
People have no income drop out of the system, and it becomes everybody has income.
Yeah.
So then if you're an entrepreneur, you can say, okay, I'm going to open a bakery and sell bread. You can sell to everybody.
Yes, there will be like products and bread, they will reach an equilibrium. So we don't know how valuable this $1, but then they can say it's pegged to something. So it's very interesting. One of the talks that influenced me to like creating something like this was a talk that simulated. So they had a simulation. And at the beginning, so let's say that there were 100 people in the simulation, and everyone has the same amount of money at the beginning. And do you know that one?
It's the one with the graph, and it ends up like
yeah, like that. So what this means is that it's still going to be like that, because it's still the trading, but there will be a cutoff. So it's like there won't be any zero. So it's like the floor is raised. Yeah, it's raised, and the shape will change a little. So that's
Yeah, and I think that's interesting because, like, if you look at like Bill Gates trying to help like the poorest people in the world,
Yep.
like nobody is bothered by the fact that Bill Gates has like more money than God. That's okay. But people are bothered by the fact that there's people that have zero. So if you can take away the zero and move everybody up, then it's like the inequality is not really the problem, actually.
Yeah.
Like the Gini coefficient is not really the problem.
Yeah.
Problem is the floor. Right? Like the problem is the people who can't buy bread. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Or the people who can't, buy medicines.
Yeah.
So if you can push that up.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah. One interesting thing is, in that simulation, the total area under the curve is constant, so it's finite. So yes. If we introduce that means the total area is say maybe infinite or something. So that means we'll have to expand outwards and produce more.
Yeah, I mean, if trade is working, then hopefully the value under the curve, the area under the curve is growing. So it should be we should be creating value.
Yeah. I have to think more about this. Maybe on my trip to Guizhou. So
yes.
Yeah, give me some peace and quiet to run some simulations in the head. I'm also, like as founders, I guess every founder has this problem. So as founder, I'm pretty nervous, about whether this project is viable, whether other people are doing exactly the same thing. So I mean, in a way, it's good that people are like building a better future. So it's also, there's some ego, I suppose, and the ego is always there. It's like with me. So. But yeah. We should be able to make good decisions. I think, putting our egos aside, depending on what we find. Yep.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
I mean, if they are working, if they convince me that this is the right way to do it, then I'll start learning some useful skill, like learn some coding and get a job. So we'll see how that goes. But maybe I can, because I think everyone has a lot of ideas, and all the ideas, someone's doing almost every idea, useful idea. So it really depends on what we want. So,
yeah, that's the thing. Like there are sort of technical challenges and there are adoption challenges, and I think there's a balance in startups between things that maybe are, on the one hand, maybe you have a very high technical challenge, and the adoption challenge is very low, or maybe nothing. So that's like you're solving a very hard problem. So maybe like to take an example, maybe the spam problem. So I'm trying to solve the spam problem. So spam problem is a hard problem. So if you can solve it, that's great. Everybody's going to use your solution right away. So like the technical challenge is high, but the challenge of getting people to use it is very easy. And then the other side, maybe you have something where the technical challenge is low. So if the technical challenge is low, then maybe you have a challenge of getting adoption. So this is something like maybe you have you're trying to compete with Facebook. So there's not much technical challenge to compete with Facebook, but the challenge is that you have a very hard time getting users because Facebook already has the users. So, and of course, if you have like a high technical challenge and a high adoption challenge, then try something else. And if you have both are very low, then of course, you know, you were lucky.
Yeah.
But in most, you know, or you have some asymmetric information. But in most cases, it's like there's that balance, because if something was very easy to sell, then everybody would do it unless there's some barrier. So there tends to be some technical barrier.
Yeah.
So in this one, I feel like we started out with something that was more on the side of like it's going to be hard to get people to use it, but not so technically difficult to build. And then because of that, I think we're looking now at like other people that are doing something similar and then trying to see where we are on that. And then it may be that from your time in Guizhou, you come up with maybe a rebalancing where we will say, okay, we want to do something like, we want to make it maybe more difficult for ourselves, maybe solve a harder technical challenge that everybody else is not solving.
Yep.
And then maybe the adoption becomes easier, but we set for ourselves a higher challenge of whether or not we can do it. Maybe we can't build what we set out to build, or maybe it turns out to be technically possible.
Interesting what you said. You feel the technical challenges low and adoption challenges high. I feel the other way around. I feel the
It's a good thing we're in the roles that we are in.
Yeah. Well said. Yeah. Okay. Let me just put this on our meeting agenda. Okay, so yeah.
All right, so yeah, that was all I had on my notes for today. Do you have anything else to any other major topics to bring up?
I was going to invite you to GitHub as one of the agenda items, but now that there's another impending project that I need to look at, I feel like suddenly crushed with like my my models. So it's I need some time to recover and come back. And maybe if you know this project is useful, then we can proceed. So that's yeah. I'm gonna meditate, and then some idea will come into my mind, and you know so.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will take a look at the website, and I think what I want to do with that is sort of put some of the ideas that we've talked about and that we will talk about, sort of put it on there, and I want to try to get like feedback. So I want to try to. That's another area where I think, like in the technical side versus adoption. I want to push a little bit to maybe put some of that out there, and use the website as a kind of platform for that, so I can put that stuff out there and get people to say yes or no. Like, yes, this is definitely going to work, or no, will never work, or yes, I would definitely use it, or no, I would never use it. And then sort of get the feedback on where we are on that.
I personally like that. So as the lead linker, we need to like change the, what do you call, probably put that accountability into a role or something. So it's so that will become clear. Would you like me to propose it, or?
Which accountability do you mean? Do you mean what I was describing about putting things on the?
Yeah, exactly. So it's like feedback, seeking feedback, because
Yeah. I suppose we should clarify that.
I guess it's my attention, so I'll propose that in the next.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, and did you take minutes today, or?
I did. Yes.
Okay.
It's here. Let me send it to you.
type it for you here.
Yep.
Easy to guess.
Oh, that's your GitHub. Okay. Let me just do it right away. So right away. Project action and invite.
Oh yeah, I'm glad we have GitHub already.
Yeah. Register all the organization names that include action. So it's I couldn't get action, just the simple action organization. So I already took it.
Oh, that's too bad. We'll have to hunt them down.
Okay, let me put invite member. What does inimino stand for?
It doesn't stand for anything, but it's a word that I made up many years ago.
Cool. Does it have any meaning? No, it doesn't. It just
well, maybe it has some layers of meaning, but it was somewhat randomly created.
What's the difference between a member and the owner to an organization? So owner. Can there be one owner, more than one owners?
In GitHub, I don't know. I think
let's try. We could try this. Yep, let me try this. Okay. Okay, I've sent you the invitation.
Okay. All right. Good.
Cool. Great.
All right. So when are you leaving?
I'm leaving tomorrow morning. I'm flying to Guizhou, and they don't have this. What do you call it? It's not too high, so air-wise, the 高原反应, no 高原反应. So it's,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So well, it should be a beautiful and enjoyable flight.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I think it will be a good trip because I see some painters there, so it's.
Yeah. All right. Well, enjoy it.
Thank you. See you next week. Yeah.
Okay. See you.
Bye.